All right, live looks like. Hi, it's me, Bill. And yesterday uh, I was looking back at my broadcast yesterday, and I was like looking all over the place. Uh, you know, so the first thing I wanted to tell you is that it's always good to be reflective, to take a moment and do a little self evaluation and improve a little bit every day, right? Okay, so I have this one is going to be about um, some really good news. And then I'm going to talk a little bit, give you a little preview of tomorrow's high school webinar. Um, that's going to be on at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 Mountain, noon Central, and 1 p.m. Eastern. And if you're another part of the world, well, you're gonna have to look it up. So, and then I'm gonna ask a question, a fair question, because sometimes questioning is seen as rebellion, right? This is weird. I just think it's awful. So people should ask questions, and people should know the unintended consequences of things. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about an upcoming podcast that I'm going to be on. So you might want to listen to that one. I have to say, I was quite proud of how that all happened. So Conan Lorenzo, um, the new president of USPTA San Diego, and one of his pros, Jenna, came over with their equipment to my house, which was pretty awesome. All right. So number one, so you may have heard that my boys' high school team season was canceled, right? And then I got word that they weren't going to pay me the full stipend. So I made a bit of a stink out of it. And then not only a compromise was reached, but probably something that's even better. Because I'll tell you what, I mean, if you know anything about the situation, the culture of the team was rotten. And this is my first year with that group, and somebody filled these kids' minds with stuff. I mean, they think they're better than they are. Like, they're like, one kid told me, "Hey, coach, I'm good for 3 wins every match, because in Southern Cal, we play one set and they play against 3 opponents, right? So I'm good for 3 wins every match, right?" And he's like a 3.43, right? And we're going into a league where he's going to be playing some 4s, 5s, 6s. There's a 9 at one school. And I'm looking at this kid like, you realize who you're going to be playing, right? So anyway, that's one example. I had one kid tell me, "Oh, hey, coach, are we going to be doing any running? Because I play doubles, so I don't really." He didn't really say I don't really run, but you get where he's going with that, right? And then I had another kid who's pretty goofy, and he's just like, "I just want to have fun." I'm like, "Okay, cool. I want to have fun, but hey, if you get bageled every match all season, is that going to be fun? Probably not. So maybe let's prepare to play some better tennis so that you can get a few games or something. How about that?" Yeah. Anyway, so the compromise is this: that I'm going to do an instructional program after school for an hour, 5 days a week, and anybody can come to it. And this will give me a chance to build up that new generation of kids. So I'm going to get a ton of beginners, and for weeks at a time, we're going to really train and learn. And once they're ready to really play some sets, then we'll do that. I will probably also run a very low level UTR event or 2 or 3 for them to play, so that they can get their UTR established. So it's really a huge win for the program and for me personally, because then it gives me the flexibility. I don't have to do an hour and 45-minute or 2-hour practice. I'm going to be out there for an hour. And so it frees me up to do more private stuff right after. It's really a tremendous boon to the program. So I'm super excited about that. And we're going to kick it off tomorrow. And some of the kids that were like crushed on Monday are now excited and happy. And the parents are excited and happy. So that's awesome. And so, and what it underlines, I really like this district that I'm working in. I think they're very professional. I think they have the best interest of the kids in mind, and they don't play. They're not woke. It's East San Diego County, baby. We don't do that woke stuff. So I really appreciate that a lot. And now I'm going to talk about the webinar for tomorrow. So David Smith, Master Tennis Pro and author of Tennis Mastery, Coaching Mastery, and High School Tennis Mastery, will be joining me. And he and I are good friends. And the other cool thing about it is he and I we agree on many things, and we are very different on some things. I mean, he has this very regimented program, and I have one that's a little more organic. He deals with groups of kids, that are used to being extremely highly disciplined, and I'm teaching kids to be disciplined maybe for the first time in their lives. So you get both views. It's not like we walk in lockstep, and I think we can also help answer questions of pretty much anybody, because Dave's programs just like always win, always, and I take on the really super hard cases. So I can relate to failures and difficulties of a lot of programs out there where you're not getting the numbers that you want, or you're dealing with a population that is at risk in many ways. So, for tomorrow, we're going to talk about the nuts and bolts of scheduling a practice, so that you have some really good tools for how to organize your practice, because there are 5 things that you want to be able to include in your practice on a kind of a rotating basis, so that all these bases are covered, right? I mean, 1, you need technique. 2, you need fitness. 3, you need to work on the mental game. 4, you need that tactical, strategic time. And 5, you need some type of team building built in, so that group of kids starts to really come together. So we're going to get into all that, and I'll give you one of my little master pro tips here is time, saving time. Because one of the big problems that happens in a high school practice is you have any number of kids, could be one, or it could be a group, or it could be all of them, that when you say, hey, come on over, you get this. You get that really slow, unenthusiastic walk. It's like, okay, let me go get this one ball, and then I will, play with it on my racket as I slowly walk over. So what I do is I go, all right, everybody get here, 10, 9. I start counting down, and then usually most people make it. And if somebody doesn't make it, then I go, you didn't make it. And if the same person seems to be not making it, I'll pull them aside and go, hey, look, I need you to go a little faster. And then after a little while, I'll go, hey, doesn't that kind of feel like elementary school, that I have to count down in order to get you to hustle over here? Right? Think about that. So maybe how about next time I'll just say, get over here, and you'll come quickly, and then I won't count. How about that? You want to do without the counting? Because I can, right? And then sometimes you can put some teeth on it. Like, hey, we're about to do 6 spider runs, but if you get over here in less than 10 seconds, then we'll only do 5. So it's not, you're not punishing them, you're incentivizing them. Anyway, that's one quick tip on that. So we have covered so far the good news of my high school team is going to have something, and we're going to build the program, and it's basically going to be a program reset, because I'm not going to have these attitudes, and I'm not going to have this fair weather show up when you feel like it thing. I'm kind of toying around with what my attendance policy is going to be. I think one unexcused absence and you're out of the program. I think that's what I'm going to do. So the kids are going to have to at least talk to me. All right. And then number 2, we've got the webinar coming up. It's tomorrow. It's Thursday, and it's 10 a.m. Pacific Standard, 1 p.m. Eastern. So that might be better for a lot of you than those Sunday afternoon ones we've been doing. If there's another time that works for you, just go, and let me know what you think. All right. And then here's a question. All right. So a lot of tennis organizations, think of a big tennis organization that and including the Tennis Channel, are promoting pickleball. And so my question is, what percentage of people who are members of large tennis organizations play predominantly tennis or almost exclusively tennis? What percentage of people do you think that is in that organization? And then give me your answer. And then, your guesses are good. Now, let's say 10 years ago, it was very close to 100%. 10 years ago, very close to 100%. So now, if these organizations are promoting pickleball and there's this incremental shift towards that, what happens next? Here's another good question. Will these organizations change their name to, Racket Sports Association or something like that? I don't know. It would reflect truth, right? Now, I asked a question. I've been asking a question. I'm kind of waiting for an answer. What's being done to protect the tennis-only tennis coach and the tennis-only players? Because, there's, for whatever reason, I don't know why people are blind to the unintended consequences of the things that they do. But, I'm going to guess that there is a vast majority of people who are members of tennis organizations who play only tennis, a vast majority. And so, it's a pretty large constituency. It seems like it should be, right? And then, there are other people who have, and so that should be always like the major priority of what happens, right? And those people need to be prioritized. But the message that's getting out there from leaders in tennis organizations is, we're going to educate you generally. And I'm going to translate that into English. And what it means is, we know what's good for you, and we're going to give you medicine you don't want. Right. So, I think I've said many times, right? I don't hate pickleball. I don't hate it. I think it's great that people are going out and playing that, right? Except when it's 75 feet from somebody's house and that person cannot have any peace and quiet, right? You can go to the Facebook group, Pickleball Noise Relief group. Go look at that and look at the heartbreaking stories of people whose peace and quiet has been ruined. Okay. They feel like they can't live in their house anymore. Go and then, hear from tennis coaches. Now, here's another estimated number. What do you think the number is? All right. I'm going to guess that anywhere from 500 to maybe 1,500, could be more. I don't know. But 500 minimum 500 tennis coaches who teach only tennis and whose clientele plays only tennis are getting the pinch because their courts are being taken over by pickleball people who go to city council meetings and they bring everybody from out of town to pretend like they live there and they want pickleball. And so, we need to start fighting that stuff. I mean, I think the problem with tennis people is we've been too docile for too long. We've been just sitting back thinking that justice will reign, but not going to happen. So realize this, pickleball players are underhanded and they use underhanded tactics. So, they're worming their way into tennis organizations. And it'd also be interesting to follow the money on that and find out, what kind of funding is being created by pickleball organizations to get tennis to do its bidding, right? Might be good to have a little disclosure on that too. So I don't hate pickleball, but like I gave the example the other day of the city of Oakland, I think was very smart the way they did it. There was an old broken down tennis court and they converted it to pickleball, and it was right next to a concrete wall. And then there was no housing on the other side. So it was at the edge of a park and there's nothing for 1,000 feet easy, So great placement. Excellent place for that, right? And then another park in Oakland that it's away from houses everywhere, and one court was a dual use for pickleball and tennis, and the other two courts were tennis only. It was interesting to me that I would rent the pickleball tennis dual use court to teach a lesson, and pickleball people would come on to my court while I was still teaching the lesson. And, I kind of like motioned to them, hey, can hold on. Right. And like, it didn't go in their eyes or something. I don't know what's going on there. So they come in and they're invading the court while I'm in the middle of a lesson. I'm like, hey, I'm almost done. And they're like, oh yeah, okay. I'll just be over here on the bench on your court. Right. So, so that's what we're up against. We're up against people who they're just, it's like reminds me of cartoons, where you see somebody's hypnotized and they've got the little circly things on their eyes and they're just like, but I'm here to play pickleball in 7 minutes. I have to be ready. All right. And then one more thing. So Conan Lorenzo, the CEO, or no, he's the president of San Diego USPTA, and his sidekick Jenna, maybe sidekick's not the right word, but she in her own right is a good professional for sure. They had me on their podcast, and it's going to be coming out soon. So I'll be, as soon as that goes live, it'll be on Spotify, but you can look up San Diego Tennis Pros Unmatched. And, I think they're about 10 or 12 episodes in, but they do a fantastic job. In fact, one of those interviews is with John Lelevere, a good friend of mine, who's a high school tennis coach, and another coach, I forget her name, but like they did a feature on high school tennis here in San Diego County. And I thought it really captured, the whole range of what happens for high school tennis here. So Anyway, I'm getting ready for this parent webinar put on by the USTA featuring CC Bellis. So hopefully you will catch that too. And thanks for watching. As always, any questions or comments that you have, and because I love to answer questions, and I love when people ask me tough questions, and I have to defend my position. I love it. It's not always fun, but I love it.